Embrace It, the community podcast exploring the intricacies of personal growth, mental health, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. Topics tailored for a global audience. Now, let's talk about it with your host, Bracy Goodwin.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining in again today. Appreciate you kind of stopping by on this holiday weekend. I know probably a lot of people are traveling and going to and fro and just spending time with family. But this is definitely has been a good weekend. The weather was good. Everybody seems to be really having a good time. There's a lot of things going on in the community. We got FIFA going on. We have a lot of things going on. So I hope that you got a chance to spend time with your family, had time to reflect back on a whole lot of things in life. And I was just home really just wanting to take this weekend off of doing absolutely nothing for a chance for just to take a break from it all. And so I did that. And I started watching some of Good Morning America was one of the shows that I watch. But so it's a whole lot of history stuff that I want to talk about today when we get a chance to go into details about the show. But hey, I just want to thank you all for joining in wherever you're watching from. I hope you are having a wonderful time with your peeps and everything is going well for you. So I'm going to be asking you to come on in the chat room and just tell me how's it going? How's things been going for you this weekend? Before I do, I always talk about, and something that's dear to my heart, being a suicide prevention advocate for it. So I want to just make mention of the 988 crisis hotline that's available to you if you are struggling with that as well. So don't forget about that. And there's so much more information that's out there available to you that is free if you are struggling with anything in life. So you'll see the ticker tape going across the bottom of the screen there for you if you need it. So remember, we got to love on those that are silent and really don't know how to deal with a whole lot of things that's going on in life. Generational curses, things that we had to go through. I was talking to a family member of mine this week, Eric, who's in DC, and shout out to you, brother. He's doing a lot of things out with the public out in movies and theater and all that stuff, and so I told him I'm so proud of him for doing it because of the things that we had to come through his life. So he says, man, yeah, we are moving forward in spite of the generational trauma that we had to deal with. So proud of him as well. I met a lot of good people this week. I want to mention a gentleman that I got a chance to talk to this week. His name is Jerry Carter. We were on this feed talking about the Jacksons that are out still doing their thing. So we kind of, and I told him I would mention him. Hopefully that he'll join in and watch the show as well. Just do me a favor. I always have up there in the corner there, the QR code for Buy Me a Coffee. I like to mention that. And just to let you know that if you do want to support, if you want to support the Embrace It Community Podcast, you can buymeacoffee.com/embrace it. That's how you can support if you want, And then also I like to mention the email address for the Embrace It Community Podcast, embracecommunitypodcast@gmail.com. That's how you can reach. And like I said, suicide prevention is number one, always on my list. So remember that information is there for you as well. So yeah, all of the things that I like to talk about and support with people and men, women, health, mind, body, soul, I'm always going to get on here and talk about it. So I want to get into also, hey, let me also shout out to those that are watching near and far. Got a lot of people that are watching out all across the country. They're, and I mentioned them as well, overseas in different countries, different time zones too. They watch and tune in and feedback. So I want to definitely give a shout out to them as well. Dominican Republic, Nigeria, Pakistan. Thank you all for watching. So yeah, so let's get into this because, like I said, I know it's that weekend and you're probably traveling, trying to get back. So I came across something this weekend, and it was Robin Roberts spoke exclusively with a family member about how this nation was built, and it's going to be a really good talk that they're going to have. You might be able to join in and watch it. It's Robin Williams from Good Morning America. She has it's coming on. When is that coming on? It's coming on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, if you can watch it, The Hands That Built the White House with Robin Roberts. All right. And that's coming on. Yeah. Tomorrow night. Yeah. Tomorrow night. So check it out. 8:30. It's really interesting. And so it kind of intrigued me when I saw this. It really intrigued me about who we are and where we come from and who was in our family. So this conversation she's going to have with a young lady named Jackie Smith Sullivan and her daughter Ashley Swan, and they learn that their fourth great grandfather Calvert Ambush helped build the White House and back in 1829, and they didn't know until they came in. So Ashley's in Atlanta. She's a neuroscience PhD person and a mother of three, and about the lineage and enslaved laborer. She's a neuroscience doctor. So, but it has an American story, but nobody puts it into a parade. So all of this going on, celebrating this past weekend about the 250 years of building America, and it's not talked about who were really the backbone of building America. So that always seems to, make me want to sit back and do some research on some things. So I started doing some research, and I said, well, I want to know, and I think I've always been this way. I wanted to know more about my family. And I wanted to know where and who my family members were. I've been digging for a while now. I've been digging quite, I want to say, man, over 5 years of just trying to find out who's who in my family and what they did. So I've been doing some research, and I don't know about you. Some people have a problem with it. Some people find it to be very painful to start digging up, stuff in their family members. But I don't know if you thought about doing it and want to chime in. Let me know. I'm gonna be watching the feed here just to see if anybody wants to chime in on if you're watching. So I've been doing some research and trying to find out, because the name Bracy Goodwin, I'm the fourth. My father the third, my grandfather the second, but I lost the connection after my grandfather. So I'm trying to find out who was Bracy Goodwin the first, if they took those records and put it into findings. So I've been trying to get in touch with only one person that I know, which is my Aunt Mary. But here's one thing I did find out about my dad. Okay, so check this out, right? A lot of people I'm trying to let my children's children know who's who in the family. So I've been creating and putting stuff together just to share with them. And you can see the resemblance. There's my dad in the middle. That's my father. And on his right side, that's my grandfather. And that's my dad there on the left. And when I started looking at these pictures, and I said, oh man, I started seeing a lot of the ways that I have now, as far as dress, the way I dress, the way I like to dress, and the way I keep myself. So up on top, is my son on the left. And Javon on the left, and then Chris on the right. So I'm trying to, I'm looking at these young men who are my sons, and just look at Javon, and he's been dressing like this forever. I mean, he just likes to stay sharp. So that's something that was in the family, that keeps going on, and keeps going on, and keeps finding their way back in the generation. Hey, Natasha, thank you for joining. Records get lost after a few years generation. That's true. So how are we, Natasha? How are we going to keep the records going so that even if our children don't want to know about it, how do we do that? Maybe their children might want to know more about it. So how do we keep this going? So I'm trying to do it. So I made this to so that my children's children, when they start asking questions to their parents, well, who was my grandfather and what was he about? And so here's some information. And so, but wait, they might even want to go back to see how I was when I was little. So I came across this picture, all of these black and whites, when I was coming up. Now, this was the 70s. So to them, that's going to be like, oh my God, he's old. He was born old. So this is in the 70s. That's me right down there in the front, in the middle, and my family members. So I'm trying to preserve all of this information for them. We have to bring back the family albums, Natasha, right? But how do we do that? Who's interested in that? They probably would not. They would be surprised. Now, check this out. This is something else that I found out or knew about. I don't have the actual picture, but another family member of mine has the actual picture. Look at this picture. This is my dad was an artist, and this is Martin Luther King, who he drew. And in New York City, there was a bank called Carver Savings Bank in Queens, and they had this picture hanging up in the bank. And I don't know if you can see it down in the corner, that's my dad's signature. That's his name, Bracing, right there. So my dad was an artist, and I think my sister used to like to draw as well, but I couldn't draw to save my life. But what I did pick up as a gift is the gift of music, playing piano. And so I was trying to figure out where that came from. And then I got a chance to talk to my aunt, which is my dad's sister. And she had this old piano in her house. And she sat down and she sang and played jazz like it was like nothing, Hey, Andrell. Yeah, definitely. Many peoples, we need to keep the family Bibles for the records, right? I have my mother's family Bible, the big old thick Bible. I do it. My sister gave it to me. She didn't want it. So I'm going to keep it and pass it down to my children if they want it, because inside the Bible is my name, baptism. I think I saw my mother had a piece of my hair. I still got my baby shoes. So these are things that I'm going to keep. And on the bottom of it, it has my initials, BG. So I'm holding on to this. So this picture right here, my dad drew this picture here. And so he was kind of an artist, Martin Luther King. So it's kept in the family. And this was drawn on velvet. This is just a picture of it, but it was drawn on velvet. And that's how talented my dad was. So I just want to share that I do have a picture of it. I'm just trying to get hold to it, the actual one, but my daughter's mom has it for her to keep, so I get it, so it's in the family, at least they know. And there was some other pictures she had shared with me. I don't know what I did with mom, see if I have to find it. But now here's another picture that my aunt had shared with me of her great aunt. So that is my great aunt. But look how sharp they were dressing back then. So it kind of makes me feel good about the way I keep myself, because I like to look nice, all the time. And my dad, I don't know if you saw this picture, that's about my dad. That's how he dressed every day: shoes, pants, socks, and that's it. So as you see, it has trickled down to my kids too, and me. So these are the things that I came across doing this weekend. We're learning about the history of how the White House was built back in 1829. And as you all know, I do the same thing. I'm a history buff with the Buffalo Soldiers, so I'm trying to keep that history and legacy going. And I forward this information to my grandson, Brandon. He has a shirt about the Buffalo Soldiers. And so my uniform that we wore when we did a lot of the teaching, all of this stuff that I have to pass down to him, and so he can keep it going as well. And I have an antique 1836 Ruger 45 revolver. It's just real. It really fires 45s. So I have that, and I purchased it only for one reason: to keep it in the family and keep the history going, and hopefully they will. So what are you doing in your family? What are you doing for your family's heritage to keep it going? Ancestry.com is good, but this show that's going to come on tomorrow night, I want you all to tune in if you can on Good Morning America about the history of the White House and all of this stuff. So tune into it. Is it just me? I'm the only one that's really trying to get into the history and where it all started, who we came from, and why we do what we do, and why we act the way we act, because it has to do with your bloodline. So be mindful of that. Some of the ways that you have, and some of the things that our parents used to say to us. You remind me of your father, you're just like your father. And I didn't know my father. So how is that? So how about teaching our generations about, this is what your father did, this is how your grandfather was. And the only one thing that my mother told me that I picked up, and all of a sudden, I don't know why I picked it up or whatever, I love handkerchiefs. Isn't that crazy? I love handkerchiefs, and I keep handkerchiefs with me in my pocket, because I don't like, if I'm sweating or wiping my face, I don't like doing it with my bare hands. So I keep a handkerchief for that purposes. And my mother told me, she said, you remind me of your grandfather, because that's what your grandfather did. Your grandfather kept handkerchiefs and stuff like that. So you see the little things that we inherited in our DNA that we don't even know. These are traits of our history. So could you imagine coming across your ancestry's documents, and Natasha finding out, because you're a motivation speaker. I don't know what you want me to call you, but I listen to your show too. I listen to when you're talking about life and connecting with yourself and loving on yourself and nature and all this stuff and eating right and all that stuff. Have you ever stopped, Natasha, and just trying to figure out where this is coming from and why you're this way, and what birthed that up in you? Was it birthed through pain? Was it birthed through anything that you had to go through, or was it just natural? Because a lot of the things that I'm doing now was birthed through some trials and tribulations that I had to go through. And so I had to get down to a point where I was tired of whatever I was tired of, and whatever it was, and just humble myself with God. And he started to put all this stuff and expel all the stuff in me. So yeah, what are you doing to preserve the history of your family members? What are you doing? If you're doing anything, you might not be doing anything, but I'm just wondering if you are doing something about it. And if you are, let me know. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know in the chat if you are doing something. But like I said, I realize that a lot of people dealt with a lot of trauma, hurt, abuse. We all been there, but let's not let that keep us from even want to talk about the family tree. Somewhere, somehow or another, you got to get rid of that. Dump that negative, the negative stuff that took place, and think about the positive things that has taken place in your life and your family. Okay, so I think that'll be a good thing for you to do. So what are you doing about your life with your family? Are you doing anything about it? So like I said, tune in if you can, and watch this story on Good Morning America about Calvert Ambush. He helped build the north side of the White House, like I said, and the granddaughter, Ashley Swan, she's now in hands of this information. Michael Strahan as well, they're going to reveal what he had going on in his family. And then I found out from watching just a little excerpts from this that the government rented the slaves from their white slave owners to help do this building of the White House. And Albert, I think, no, before Albert was, or after Albert, Michelle Obama weighed in on this. President Obama's wife, she told Robin Roberts on the show that President Barack Obama, and they had discovered about what was taking place and how the White House was built, so they could really let people know that we are standing on everybody's shoulders to be here. And that's what she said, the whole nation, that there were people who are more deserving of being here and enjoying freedoms of this country. There are more people, and now they're trying to say, the people that they're celebrating, that's not true. There were a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds who have toiled and died and served to make this country what it is today. So this is good information. So I kind of get reserved when a lot of the holidays come around now, because like I said, I just been doing a lot of research, been doing a lot of studying and researching on the why we celebrate certain things, and the why we do what we do, and why we buy what we buy, and why we're trying to impress the way we trying to impress people for whatever reason. So I'm doing a lot of research on that stuff. So I don't damper anybody's party if that's what they want to do. They invite me to it, but a lot of times, excuse me, a lot of times what I will do when people are talking about, or they'll say to you, for example, they'll say Happy Thanksgiving, but because I know the history of it, I'll just respond back, Happy Holidays to you too, and that's it. But because I know the history on Thanksgiving and so on and so forth, so I say Happy Holidays to a lot of people. I don't go with the Happy Thanksgiving, because it wasn't happy. It was nothing happy that took place. Wasn't happen Nothing happy that took place on the Fourth of July either, for certain cultures and generations. So that's just me. That's just me. Like I said, I'm just learning, and I'm allowing myself to, know the truth, and not just be a part of something that was done, rituals that were just done, things that were just said. And what about in your church? It's the same thing. What about, some of the things that were taught in your church? All of that good stuff that we do and listen to every day. So what are you doing? Hey, people that are joining in right now, I appreciate you all joining in. Fidel, thank you for joining in as well. I'm talking about, your family, coming across some of the family pictures that I came across, and trying to get my children involved in this. And if you're just joining in, like I said, one of my great great aunts, I came across some pictures of how stylish she was, and I'm sure she was a good woman of God and all of that good stuff. And my dad, who he was, and I'm looking at his pictures and how he is, and then my pictures and me and my sons up on the top there. And something I wanted to mention is too, my dad had a patch over his eye, and I wanted to know, hey dad, when I was little, I said, Dad, what happened? Hell, he blamed it on when he was in war, but my mother told me the truth. Said no, that wasn't true. He was fighting out on the street in New York City, and somebody hit him in the eye with a golf club or something like that, and he lost his eye because he was that guy. He liked to fight. So these are the things that I'm saying that we don't know about our family, and they try to keep it hush hush. My mom used to try to keep a lot of stuff hush hush when we tried to dig into like some of the family history, because there's so much pain. There was so much pain for her, and I understand it. So I didn't pry too much. We tried to go around and do some research on it too. So that's what we tried to do. But the question is tonight, what are you doing, and how have you been keeping your family history alive? Yes. How are you doing it? Right, Andrell, about these holidays and these national holidays, and how what we celebrate. What is that about? So what are you doing, people, good people that are watching? How are you keeping the history about your family alive? Or if are you keeping your family history alive? Do you care? Do you really care about your family that much? Are you going to let it die with you? Are you going to let it die with grandma? Are you going to let it die with it? Or what are you doing about it? And so if you knew that there were some very educated people and famous people that didn't get notoriety in their lifetime in your family line, and then you stop and look at yourself in the mirror, what would you do? What would you say? Would you try to keep that information going? What do you do? How do you keep that going? So that's the question for tonight on this topic tonight. I just want to touch on this holiday weekend, just to see what you thought. And that's why I said I just started doing some research, and there are a couple of websites too that offer free information on trying to get to your family archives. Um, One I came across, I don't think I brought this up on the feed. It's called ItalianGen.org. ItalianGen.org, and it's not just for Italian people, so don't let the name fool you. If you have records anywhere, you can dig and search for your name. And I jumped on that one. Then I jumped on the 1950 census in archives.gov. I jumped on that and I just typed in the name, but there's so many good ones. And then I started finding people that I didn't know had my first name as their first name, Bracy, because I didn't think there was anybody else but in my family. But there are people in the census from 1950 that had my first name. So is there any, relationships to them? I don't know. We just don't know. But hey, I'm just going to try and look to see if I can find out something. So what are you doing? That is the question for tonight. That's the question for the week. You might want to do it. You might want to take a look and see what's going on in your family, what has been going on in your family, if anything, what history you find. But will you let me know? Will you drop me a line, email me, drop something in the chat to let me know, even after we go off the air, that you found some things and you want to discuss about it and see what you can do about it, because we just never know, right? So look it up and see what's going on in your family. What's your family history tree looking like? Where did it all start? Where did it go wrong? Where are you taking it? That is the question. Where are you going with this from now on? But like I said, I just wanted to know if you knew. Hey, Angela, how you doing? Thank you for joining in tonight. Talking about this family stuff. So family. Oh, wow. You okay? So thankful I had the opportunity to record the conversation. Yeah. Oh, man, you did. You record your mom's conversation before she passed away. See, that's good, Angela, that you did that, because I tried to do that with my mother, but she didn't want to talk about it, and we tried to figure out why she didn't want to talk about it, but you did. So now, Angela, what are you going to do with that? And I think there are services out there that allow you to put that on a document, like with the pictures and everything like that, to keep that for the family, to pass it on, like the photo albums. There's now digital things that you can create. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I saved my mother's voicemails that she used to give me, which was just talk. She was just talking, but my mother didn't want to get into a lot about our history and our family. So what are you doing to trying to preserve that vital information that is so important to the next generation, your children's children, and then more than likely their children? So your children's children are going to ask questions about your grandmother and your great grandmother. They're going to want to know. So that's why I'm trying to keep these pictures here. I got them on my computer. I send this information to my kids, for them to have, so that they can share it. But I'm sure my children's children are going to want to know, hey, where was grandpa? How was he? And they see stuff like this and they're going to be like, wow. And then they can share the story that their grandfather's father, was an artist. So all of this stuff I have, and I'm just trying to keep it going. I'm just trying to keep this stuff going, keeping it alive. So is it important to keep it alive to you? That's what I want to know. Is it important to make sure that we share this information? Don't hold it in, and don't hold it from the children, because somebody down the line is going to want to know about you when you're long gone. I believe that. That's what I believe. So so keep it going. All right. Keep this message going. Keep me in your prayers. And I pray for you. You pray for me, all of that, so that we can make sure that we all stay good, in this time that we live in. And let's keep our mind focused on what we need to be doing and who we need to be working on, and more of ourselves. But like I said, I took this weekend to just shut it down, and I didn't want to just do nothing but just take time for me, clear my mind, check out some things that I got going on with inside of me, and what can I do better, because retirement's right around the corner. So that's what I've been doing, just trying to making sure that I'm good, so the only time I get a chance to do that is just when I shut down and just, sit down and just start writing and try to put the stuff down on paper, so I won't forget it. And journaling is good. My professor used to tell me, journal about your personal life, journal about your work life. And while at that time I was in school, journal about school. So I've learned to journal. 3 different journals, 4 of them now, where I write this stuff down, and I'm starting to put dates on them, and I'm writing in the front of the book for my children's children. This was your dad. This was your grandfather. So because it's the only thing we have. You got that recording, Angela. I got the books. I got some pictures. And I want to see if they are interested in having this stuff. And the picture that my dad drew of Martin Luther King, This is in good hands, so it's going to continue on. This was Bracy Goodwin III. This was his work. So all of this stuff that I have, what are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? Keeping your family history going. So tune in. Let me put it back up here about tomorrow night. I want you to tune in on Watch This on the American Story, The Hands That Built the White House with Robin Roberts on tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on our time, that's going to be 7:30. So watch it, tune in. It's going to surprise you a lot, that stuff. Something that I didn't mention on here, that her great-great-grandfather paid $620, took out a loan, paid $620 to get another family member free from slavery. He took out a loan. And back then, $620 was probably like about $600,000, now, or $6,000 now. I don't know, but it was a lot of money back then. But he took out a loan to get one of his family members free from slavery. So this is going to be a good show to watch. So I'm asking you to check it out when you can. All right. Stay healthy, stay mentally healthy in this time that we live in. It is that, that I ask all my people that watch this show, because suicide is real, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this world that we don't need to focus in on. Focus on your relationship with God and focus on who you are. All right. Take that time out for yourself like I did this weekend, and mentally heal, mentally rest, so that you can continue on and prepare for what you need to do. Hey, thank y'all so much for watching. I try to stay on 30 minutes and that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for joining in and chiming in. But I'll put this information up on. I want you to check it out. Don't forget, make yourself a note to watch this show. All right. So until next week, I'll be back, and we're going to do this again. Andrea says a lot of the history, a part of the Americans' history, and all right, we should look at the way. Yeah, we need to look at this stuff here. That's what we need to do. So, all right. Hey, I'm gone. Thank you again for joining and watching. I appreciate you all for doing what you do. Continue to follow, share YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, but more on the YouTube page. Follow me on those pages, please. I want to see you on there as well. So thank you all for joining in, and I'll be back again next week. We'll do it again live. All right. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Thank you so much all for watching.
Thank you for listening to Embrace It, the community podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Follow the community podcast page on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Please like and share the podcast with your community circle.